Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Stuart Alan Swerdlow.
And Diane Moya Swerdlow.
And this is the Expansions News vlog, or podcast, depending on your opinion, for the very last days of November 2020. Janet is more interested
Yes.
in them.
Yes,
than
because everybody
doing
wants to
news.
see the puppies. So we
Uh-huh.
got them in.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one.
You got another one?
Another one's over here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, one of their brothers are going to be coming from Russia. So they're going to be very happy to see their family again. Although they never met this one, he was born after them. Yes. Anyway, shall I begin, or are you still interested in...
I'm always interested in the puppies.
Well, I'll just begin the news. And of course, finally, the legal team of President Trump and the ones who are not on the legal team have mentioned George Soros as the person behind the fraud in the election. But Soros is not only known here as a criminal, in his own country of Hungary. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán said that the billionaire George Soros is one of the most corrupt people in the world. And Soros told the European Union to make Hungary and Poland submit to open society values.
What does that mean?
That means anarchy, allowing in illegal aliens, destroying the culture and the history of the countries. And thank goodness Eastern European countries and even Central European countries are not going to tolerate this. Not just Hungary and Poland, but I know that Czech Republic has rejected it, Romania, Bulgaria. They're not doing what Soros wants or what the EU wants. Now, Prime Minister Orbán said that George Soros is threatening Hungary and Poland, referring to the 90-year-old ARC activist public lobbying of the EU to deprive the conservative-led Central European countries of funding. So he wants to cut off money to European countries that don't do what he says. Gee, that's open society, isn't it? That's freedom. They said that George Soros, again, is one of the most corrupt people in the world. He has plenty of politicians in his pocket who now want to blackmail Hungary and Poland for access to EU funds. And they said that the billionaire is spreading absurd, beyond the red line statements about Hungary. So Soros has claimed, among other things, that Orbán has constructed in Hungary an elaborate kleptocratic system to rob the country blind. Well, Soros, where did you get your $2 trillion? Where'd that come from? Because you've done absolutely freaking nothing in your life as a job. You've stolen money from Europeans. And basically, as we see, the left side accuses the other side of what they're doing.
It's an age-old tactic.
Right. And according to Poland, he said that he would have reduced them to political and institutionalized enslavement. And that's basically what they want for the whole world, enslavement.
Well, they basically have that anyway. It's just people don't know it, so to
And the
speak.
dominant EU states, Germany and France, are incensed by the refusal of Hungary and Poland to accept what's being imposed on them. Hungary, Poland, Czech Republic, all Eastern Europe, resist the EU. It's an evil dictatorship, and you know that the people of Europe do not vote for the members in the EU Parliament who make the laws. It's a dictatorship. And here's the funny part, except it's not so funny. Soros attempted to paint the Polish-Hungarian veto as selfish and irresponsible, coming at a moment when Europe is suffering from a dangerous surge of COVID-19, well, made-up cases that they just add to, and said the Polish-Hungarian governments might reasonably retort that it's not their decision to tack punishment clauses for supposed values violations onto a budget. And they said, if you ever wanted to know how Soros' plan works, here it is, said Hungary's Secretary of State. George Soros suggested fiscal penalties against those who do not accept migrants back from 2015. Today we see financial blackmailing and political retribution operationalized by EU institutions. The EU should be disbanded. It is not a legitimate organization or government because it says European Union. But the Europeans, quite honestly, hate each other. The Germans hate everybody. The French hate everybody. You know, the Italians hate everybody north of the border. The Slavs hate the Western Europeans. And on and on. There's no union. It's a forced dictatorship. So Soros and family, this is now me talking. Soros and family are Satanists. They have over 2 trillion, and that's only an estimate, that they've stolen from Europeans and from the rest of the world. I want to know, Europeans, why aren't they in prison or executed? Enough is enough. And I thank God that Europeans are starting to resist this. Now, speaking of other people who have shown their true colors, I'm just going to tell you the story, and then again, I'll be speaking from myself.
Who are you speaking from? You're not speaking from yourself.
I'm just reporting the news. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu traveled by civilian jet, means private jet, to Saudi Arabia for a secret meeting with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And it's the first known encounter between Israel and Saudi officials, which is not really true. Israeli spy chief and the head of the Mossad, Yossi Cohen, joined the meeting. Gee, what could go wrong with Mossad at the meeting? And was also attended by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Something's going on, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. Israel has long had clandestine ties to the Gulf Arab states that have strengthened in recent years as they confront Iran. And this is the key point. Now, before I get into Iran, I just have to say that Netanyahu has shown his true colors by congratulating, he's one of the first ones to congratulate Biden, and yet Saudi Arabia and Israel and the US will destroy the Ayatollahs in Iran and change Iran to where it should have been a long time ago. The United States this week rapidly deployed several heavy bombers to the Middle East in an apparent threat to Iran, amid speculation that the US President Donald Trump plans to take military action against Iran. And it says before Biden takes over, God forbid that shall never happen. US Central Command said the planes were sent into the region to deter aggression and to reassure US partners and allies. It is in a highly irregular move. The B-52H Stratofortress planes, these are very big planes, were seen flying towards Israeli airspace en route to a base that they'll be stationed in Qatar. The aircraft was spotted on civilian tracking software as they approached Israel, before they apparently turned off their transponders, rendering them invisible on those applications. Of course, you could see them flying in the sky. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo visited the region in the past week, including a stop in Israel where he told the Jerusalem Post that the U.S. would consider a military strike on Iran. And last Friday, Channel 13 in Israel, that's an interesting Channel 13 in Israel.
That's probably their only channel in Israel.
No, that's 13, that means there's 12 others.
Not necessarily.
We're planning to increase pressure on Iran with covert operations. And we also know that this past week, a top Iranian nuclear expert was assassinated in Tehran. So something seems to be up. All military U.S. and Allied aircraft in the Eastern Mediterranean have turned off their air traffic flight transponders. In other words, they've gone dark, which I think could be very dangerous to civilian air traffic. And they said this type of going dark is usually, but not always, a hint of a pending major airstrike. But by whom and against whom are the questions. I think you know the answers to those questions. I believe that President Trump will remove all evil leaders before the January inauguration. I believe so. And now I have a rant. May I rant?
Can I stop you?
Yes, you can stop me.
I doubt it.
But the thing is, I don't have a lot of news this week. First of all, because of the American holiday, and also because there isn't anything much more to report. Everyone's saying they're going to do this and do this and do this, and they do nothing that we know of. So I'm basically disgusted with the news, with people, and predictions. And as you know, since the days before Thanksgiving until now, every major loon on Earth has come forward and somehow gotten my email and my text. I don't know how that happened. I think Biden gave it to them.
I think so.
Yes, I'm going to have to let him know what I think about that. But I'm disgusted because people, I've been doing this decades and decades, but in the last week, the looniest, most insane, disturbed people have made themselves known. And by the way, some of those people I have known in the past as being very stable, very good workers in their field, and now they have become people you would see in the day room of an institution
No, it shows
under
you
medication.
bombardment must be extremely heavy.
It's very sad to see this. So there is silence from the right side, and that means something is behind the scenes. I do not know or care for their plan, and that's because they say, oh, we must show people. We have to show people what's going on. You can't just do things. Wrong. Because guess what? The people who support President Trump, they know already. You don't have to show them anything. And the ones on the left side, you can show them whatever you want. They're not going to change their freaking mind. So do something now before it's too late. How many times I got to tell them?
Apparently
Goodness.
several times.
They don't listen. Because the people who follow Trump, they don't need to know what's coming. They already understand. And the others don't care and won't change. So it's time to stop the rhetoric and do something to correct what's going on and free the United States and the earth. Again, this is coming from me, but I think I speak for many people. China must be stopped. Same for Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, and the EU dictators, and the communist Castro in Canada, who's under the name Trudeau, who is not Trudeau, he's Castro. Biden is a senile, pedophile, Chinese puppet who must never be allowed to take office. And I believe if that even becomes possible, which I hope it isn't, but if it does, I know there will be a military intervention to stop him. And I also know that there will be intervention from someplace else because they've had enough also.
All right, so I want to remind everybody, because everybody, like the news is acting like it's a done deal.
There is no more news. I can't look at any news from any source because it's all BS.
Yes, but a lot of people do read it. So I just want to remind you that December 8th is our deadline for resolving election disputes.
Well, I've
December
heard otherwise.
14th is the meeting of the electors, and not until January 6th of 2021 do they
Right.
actually count the ballots, the electoral ballots, which means we do not have a president-elect, period,
And
regardless
even
of
that
what the
can
news says.
change, and even that can change.
Yes, and I've got news about that. So this is very interesting because President Trump actually tweeted this story, and which is the reason I found it, and you may have already seen it, but I'm going to tell you anyway because it was so good. He tweeted this story. He says everybody should read this because this is what the article says. It says candidate, not president-elect, but candidate Joe Biden was so effective at animating voters in 2020 that he received a record number of votes, more than 15 million than Barack Obama in his reelection of 2012.
It's amazing what the Dominion software could do.
Amazingly, he managed to secure victory while also losing in almost every bellwether county across the country.
Because he didn't gain BS from anybody. He was a piece of garbage. I think he probably got 10 votes in the whole country. And this communist, anarchist software changed all the votes. It's fake.
Do you know what a bellwether county is?
Yes.
What?
A bellwether county is a county that over the years has always chosen the president who...
Correct.
And so these counties suddenly did not choose.
Even though they in their primaries they chose him, but it didn't happen that way on the other end of it. So anyway, this article goes on to say that no presidential candidate has been capable of such electoral jujitsu until now.
Because it's impossible.
Right.
And it's still impossible.
80 million votes. Holy moly. No incumbent president in nearly a century and a half has gained votes in a re-election and still lost.
Right.
So he's winning despite losing most bellwether counties.
Let me tell you something. The whole election should never have happened because it was a fake election.
It says, not since the mafia allegedly aided John F. Kennedy in winning Illinois over Richard Nixon in 1960 has an American president pulled off this neat trick. Even more unbelievably, Biden is on his way to winning the White House after having lost almost every historic bellwether county across the country.
Listen to me very carefully. He's not ever stepping foot in the White House. You can count on God for that.
The Wall Street Journal and the Epoch Times independently analyzed the results of 19 counties around the U.S. that have nearly perfect presidential voting records over the last 40 years. President Trump won every single bellwether county except Clallam County in Washington State. In a larger list of 58 bellwether counties that have correctly picked the president since 2000, Trump won 51 of them by an average of 15 points, while the other 7 went to Biden by around 4 points. Bellwether counties overwhelmingly chose President Trump, but Biden found a path to victory.
Yeah, it's called Dominion software.
Polling guru Richard Barris of Big Data Poll and election analyst Robert Barnes noted a statistical oddity from 2020's election returns. Biden underperformed Hillary Clinton in every major metro area around the country,
Please.
save for Milwaukee,
Don't even read anymore. It's disgusting. It's just a lie. It's a big lie.
Atlanta, and Philadelphia, big cities in swing states run by Democrats. The vote even exceeded the number of registered voters.
Yeah, there are places where 350% voted of the population. So 3.5 times of the people who live there voted. How is that possible? Oh, but there's no fraud.
The Western Journal said that Donald Trump was pretty much the only incumbent president in U.S. history to lose his re-election while his own party gained seats in the House of Representatives.
Because he didn't lose.
Amazingly, Biden beat the guy who lifted all the other Republicans to victory.
What are you reading from the Communist News Network?
Now, I'm reading what President Trump told everybody to read. Amazingly, Biden beat the guy who lifted all other Republicans to victory. Now, that's historic. Biden overcame Trump's commanding primary vote because in the past, primary vote totals have been remarkably accurate in predicting general election winners.
Except that the polls are fake.
First, no incumbent who has received 75% of the total primary has lost re-election. President Trump received 94% of the primary vote, the 4th highest of all time, higher than Dwight Eisenhower, Nixon, Clinton, or Obama. And in fact, Trump is only one of 5 incumbents since 1912 to receive more than 90% of the primary vote.
You know, the Pope is giving a special award to Biden because he raised more dead people to life than Jesus.
That's funny. And third, Trump set a record for most primary votes received by an incumbent with more than 18 million people turned out for him in 2020. The previous record, which was held by Bill Clinton, was half that number. So for Biden to prevail in the general election, despite Trump's historic support in primaries, turns a century's worth of prior election data on its head. Joe Biden achieved the impossible. It's interesting that many more journalists aren't pointing this out. So that was what President Trump asked for you to read.
Well,
Now,
I don't want to read that because
I-
it's crap.
Well, because they're trying to show you the ridiculousness of
Yes, so
what's
then
happening.
freaking do something to change
You will
it.
listen to my stuff. You
Well,
might
get
be
to the point.
surprised. So now, which you reported on a few weeks, maybe a couple of months or more ago, was about the 14th Amendment. So I want to remind people of the 14th Amendment, which allows the president to strip the Electoral College votes from states supporting censorship against voters. It enables mass arrests of mayors, governors, and
Oh,
judges
I hope he uses it.
who support BLM and to strip power away from treasonous domestic enemies.
And you know who he should start with?
Who?
Whitmer.
The 14th Amendment grants the U.S. President the power to arrest and indefinitely hold all public officials, including mayors, governors, state legislators,
Good. I have a list for him.
federal judges, and law enforcement officials who support rebellion against the United States or have given aid or comfort to the enemies of America.
Please tell me that he can also execute them.
It also gives him the power to eliminate the House of Representatives positions for California and other states which are engaged in supporting big tech censorship platforms that are supporting rebellion against the United States of America and abridging the right of voting age citizens to participate in elections via censorship. This implies that electoral college votes would also be proportionately reduced in those states. It gives him the power to eliminate all federal financial support for cities and states which are engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States.
Yes, and there's plenty of those,
Now,
including your home.
The 14th Amendment grants American citizens equal protection under the law, but public officials or states which are engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the U.S., these equal protections are revoked. So under the 14th Amendment, all he has to do is declare an insurrection, and he can have several government officials arrested and removed from office for violating their oaths of office.
So I hope he knows this.
Of course he knows
So then
this.
why isn't he doing it?
Section 2 of the 14th Amendment specifically addresses voter suppression. It says that states which support the suppression of the ability of citizens to participate in voting will lose a portion of their own seats in Congress as well as electoral college representation. Furthermore, President Trump can arrest and imprison all state and federal judges who have granted aid or comfort to insurrectionists by, for example, releasing them without charge after they were arrested for participating in riots or assaulting law enforcement officers. Now this next is very interesting because Nancy Pelosi, during the impeachment
Spit on
process,
her name.
declared President Trump and the GOP to be enemies of the state. And this article says this kind of language would only be used by the Speaker of the House if they intend to attempt a violent coup.
And she does.
Barack Obama signed into law the NDAA, which was intended to be handed over to Hillary as a weapon against patriots and conservatives. But now Trump is using it so he can deploy it against communist sympathizers and treasonous insurrectionists.
Where is it?
Democrats will end up imploding and destroying their own future. After the failed insurrection attempt, the Democrat Party will be disbanded and thousands of former Democrat officials will either be dead or imprisoned.
When?
Now, during his impeachment trial 1 year ago, Trump said, "As I learn more and more each day, I am coming to the conclusion that what is taking place is not an impeachment, it is a coup," which is what Nancy Pelosi said, intended to take away the power of the people, their vote, their freedoms, their Second Amendment, religion, military, border wall, and their God-given rights as a citizen of the United States of America. And this was before the coronavirus lockdown.
So here's the
things.
thing. Where is Nancy Pants? I haven't seen her in a while.
Sidney Powell, as of November 26, suing Georgia officials alleging mass scheme to rig the election for Joe Biden. She alleged in federal court that the GOP-run state government permitted a massive voter fraud scheme that rigged the November 3rd election in favor of Democrat Joe Biden. The 104 complaint asked the court to issue an injunction prohibiting the governor and Secretary of State from transmitting the currently certified results to the Electoral College based on the overwhelming evidence of election tampering. Mathematical and statistical anomalies rising to the level of impossibilities, as shown by affidavits of multiple witnesses, documentation, and expert testimony evidence the scheme across the state of Georgia. The suit asks for more than a dozen remedies, including an injunction blocking the state's certified results showing Biden is winning by 12,000 votes from being sent to the Electoral College,
From dead people.
an audit where signatures are matched, the impounding of election machines, and the securing of video surveillance tapes from vote counting settings. Now, in Michigan, there's a new lawsuit filed with the Michigan Supreme Court
About time.
seeking to throw out certified election results.
I'm sorry, but you know what? The Republicans in Michigan are useless.
Two supporters of Trump are suing Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, and the chair of the Board of State Canvassers, Jeanette Bradshaw, who certified Michigan's election. The pair call on the High Court to ignore the results and have the Republican-held legislature choose members of the Electoral College from Michigan likely to be friendly to the president. They also want ballots to be separated, held onto for audit, claiming widespread fraud and irregularity, specifically in Detroit, where 80% of the residents are minorities. The lawsuit is expected to be on the Supreme Court docket by this coming Monday, just a couple days
I
from the
keep
filming.
hearing every Monday. Monday comes and I hear nothing.
One of the women suing is the leader of the group Black Voices for Trump, Dr. Linda Tarver, and the other, Angelique Johnson, was part of a federal suit with similar claims that was dropped last week. The two women behind it hope to have it heard before the December 8 Electoral College deadline. Now, this next piece of information, extremely interesting to me. Do you know who Navid Keshavartnia is?
Watch your mouth.
I'm going to tell you his credential. He has a bachelor's degree in electrical and computer engineering, a master's degree in electronics and computer engineering, a PhD degree in management of engineering technology,
What are you doing?
doctoral degree in education, advanced training from the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, National Security Agency, NSA, DHS Office of Intelligence and Analysis, and I&A, and Massachusetts Institute of Technology,
That does
MIT.
not impress me.
Well, you have to listen then. You have to be quiet for
Well,
a second.
come on.
He is employed by a large defense contractor as a chief cybersecurity engineer, a subject matter expert in cybersecurity. He has conducted security assessments, data analyses, security counterintelligence, forensics investigations on hundreds of systems. His experience spans 35 years performing technical assessment, mathematical modeling, cyber attack pattern analysis, security counterintelligence linked to FIS operators including China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia. He has worked as a consultant and subject matter expert supporting the Department of Defense, FBI, U.S. intelligence community, and agencies such as I just mentioned,
Yeah.
including supporting law enforcement investigations.
Yeah.
His statement reads, I conclude with high confidence, this is of November 25, 2020, I conclude with high confidence that the election 2020 data were altered in all battleground states, resulting in hundreds of thousands of votes that were cast for President Trump to be transferred to Vice President Biden.
Yes.
These alterations were the result of systemic and widespread exploitable vulnerabilities in DVS, SCYTL/SOE software and Smartmatic systems that enabled operators to achieve the desired results.
Yes.
In my view, the evidence is overwhelming and incontrovertible.
Hello?
So this person is testifying with all this background that he concludes that there's widespread voter fraud.
So what are they going to do?
Now, before I get back to what they're going to do, Philadelphia has banned nearly all indoor gatherings for the rest of the year.
Of course they did.
And the Supreme Court, however, ruled in favor of Christian and Jewish groups who challenged New York's COVID restrictions on religious gatherings.
So they in favor of the religious group.
Yes,
Good.
so, and actually, two Orthodox Jewish congregations joined with the Roman Catholic Diocese of Brooklyn and took their fight to the Supreme Court.
Good.
And the Supreme Court ruled against restrictions on all religious gatherings.
Finally.
Colorado.
But only in New York or everywhere?
This is New York. The Colorado County refuses to enforce lockdowns as civil disobedience spreads across America. Colorado officials announced just this past week that several counties have moved into the red level, which means they would be forced to implement new regulations on restaurants, gyms, and other parts of the economy to combat the virus. Weld County, a county in the northern part of the state with a population of roughly 250,000 people, politely said no. They said, instead, county government continues to do what it has done since March, which is to promote and encourage residents and business owners to take individual responsibility and make decisions to protect themselves, their families, their community, and their businesses. And then they enumerated what they would not do. The county will not enforce a rule confining individuals to their homes for an undetermined length of time. They will not enforce a rule that states residents cannot have personal gatherings. They will not tell the school districts how to provide education to their students. The county will not enforce a rule requiring a reduction of attendees and places of worship. The county will not enforce a rule demanding restaurants close their indoor dining areas. The county will not enforce any rules that forces a business to shut down or impedes their ability to operate.
We should move there.
We may have to. Now, this article I reported when this first happened, and this is very interesting. Georgia Governor Kemp and California Governor Newsom bought off by communist China in COVID supplies kickback and money laundering schemes.
Right. So let's buy supplies from the country that poisoned everyone in the first place.
So if you remember last July, I reported that California Governor Gavin Newsom was caught wiring $500 million to communist China, if you remember, as part of a massive face mask money laundering scheme.
Why isn't he in jail?
And even as far back as April, the mainstream media was questioning what he was up to because that's only $500 million and he committed to an entire $1 billion.
If we did that, we'd be in prison now.
Absolutely. So supposedly was to purchase N95 masks for the virus. The decision was never voted on or approved by legislators, and when pressed about details of the deal, Newsom refused to disclose them.
Of course.
So that was only, remember what I told you, the first of two installments.
He doesn't have to disclose anything, right? As he goes to his private dinner parties.
And the face mask never arrived, so that's why he couldn't wear one to his private dinner
poor
party.
thing.
He didn't have one.
I have a mask for him to wear.
So
looks like this.
So as of this writing, the Chinese electric car company in question, BYD, and the writing is November 24th, the date of this article, November 24th, 2020. The Chinese electric car company in question, BYD, still has the money and has never sent a single face mask. Well, now this is the big boom here. Information is emerging that indicates Georgia Governor Kemp may also be involved in exactly the same scheme.
You think?
These state officials sent huge amounts of money to China under the cover of buying COVID supplies. Then China laundered the money into financial kickbacks for the governor's family or business entities. Other independent media sources are also reporting that the Trump administration, via the NSA, has proof of the financial transactions that show Kemp taking bribery money from communist China.
Yeah.
Trump was waiting for Kemp to complete the crime of certifying Georgia's voting results before moving against them for criminal fraud and corruption.
Okay, so that's a clue.
Okay, and I'm not done because there's more. Okay, so now there are reports that communist China ran a web of financial kickbacks and bribes to multiple governors and state officials across America.
I guarantee
besides California and Georgia, with many other states soon to follow. So this is the only ones they're talking about.
I hope they arrest them and execute them.
In every case, the governors and state officials transferred huge sums of money to Chinese front companies for COVID supplies that were either never delivered or delivered as low cost, low quality, and nowhere near the quantity
stated. It's from
stated.
China. It's crap.
A portion of the extra funds was then paid back to family members and specially structured business entities connected to the state officials, giving them control over the illicit funds. It is expected that Oregon Governor Kate Brown will be implicated, and so will New York Governor Cuomo.
Please, what about Witchmer?
So, and the editor of this particular story said that it's been blocked on all social media.
Yeah, you think?
So
Well, how
everybody
unusual.
know, because this is one thing that I've been reading and absolutely agree. It says, do not interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
Yes, but then it's time to get rid of them.
He wanted to, according to this, and what else is going on we don't know about, he wanted to wait until they made the crime of certifying these votes. So
Well, that's what Sidney Powell said. She said to the governors, be careful if you certify a fraudulent election, because that is a criminal.
yes, and so that's why I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. So yes, everybody's impatient. Everybody wants to get it over with.
But my point being, besides all of this, they need to stop this COVID crap because people are losing their jobs, businesses are closing up, they're never going to come back, they're not getting any money to fix their lives. That is the big crime as well, and no one's doing anything about
I'm
that.
going to tell you something. Unfortunately, there is always going to be fallout on the bottom levels. We have to get the top people who are doing these things and perpetuating the crimes. And so they have to let these people do their crimes and make the mistake because they can't arrest them and do things if they haven't committed a crime.
You know what? You can't give these people their lives back. People that had businesses, restaurants for decades and they've lost everything. Who's going to give them back?
I have a lot of empathy, but I also know we have to get the people at the top. And this is what is happening. So, and that's why I said, we have to remember, I told you right from the start, the dates and the things that you're being told are incorrect. We have not even had an electoral college vote. And there are lots of things that can happen between now and then.
I'm predicting, not predicting. I know the December 21 is a big day. It's a big day. And it's before Christmas.
Isn't that the winter solstice?
Yes,
not?
but there's also an alignment of planets, and there's also some other astrological thing going on. And I just know that, so what is it, 3 more weeks? A little more than 3 weeks? This should be done. Because remember, the plan is, if they don't stop them, the evil ones by January will say there's a COVID-21. And then they'll want everyone locked up for a long time, until they get what they want, and then they'll make you get a forceful vaccination, and you will have to give up your assets and everything. So I'm just telling you, people, you need to fight back. You need to fight back. I'm not promoting violence, but you know what? Some coming after you with a knife, what are you gonna do? Stand there and let them stab you, or are you gonna fight back?
Well, let's put it this way, like that one county that said we will not enforce it. Live your life, go for it. And we have states here who are also doing that, who have been in no lockdown. And it is like a 99.8% survival rate or something like that.
More, it's almost 100.
So, it is ridiculous what people are doing and the fear that's being widespread, which is why we tell you, you say no to mind control. Don't let them do this to you.
This is unbelievable.
But as I'm telling you, the fighting back is holding your own. The businesses need to stay open. People need to go to the businesses. You don't need to be wearing a face mask unless you have a compromised immune system. And then it doesn't matter what time of year it is, you have to take care of yourself.
I hope that those of you in the United States celebrated Thanksgiving the way you're supposed to, and not eat under your mask and out. What they wanted people to eat outside. Seriously.
And not go in houses and only use a bathroom if possible and don't sing. It's
I bet
ridiculous.
Newsom didn't do that. Cuomo didn't do that. Whitmer didn't do that. I guarantee.
And December is full of all kinds of holiday things. You never know how long your relatives are going to be
That's
around.
right.
Your friends
My
and
father's
loved ones.
90th birthday is this week. I cannot see him. That's a crime.
So, and there are a lot of things like that going on.
I will never forgive the evil ones for this, ever.
So now this last article I have is extremely interesting because apparently, Time Magazine every year chooses, Person of the Year, right? So amongst the candidates, Kamala Harris,
Scamala Harris.
Governor Andrew Cuomo,
Cuomo.
and there's 70 candidates, all for the title, including Governor Gretchen.
Don't even tell. I know what you're going to say. I don't even want to hear it.
But what's interesting to me is it says Time Magazine looks for a person with, quote, the greatest influence on the events of the year for better or worse.
Yeah, why don't you nominate Hitler and Stalin?
For better or worse. And these people are the ones that they're talking about. I don't know who all the 70 candidates are.
Boycott Time Magazine. Was it Time Magazine?
Well, it's for better or worse.
But is that who it is?
Yeah.
Do not let them go out of business. They don't deserve to be published.
Better
anymore.
or worse.
I don't care. They're still
Worse.
promoting somebody who's horrible.
I'm just telling you, you can make your own choices.
Well, they picked the Ayatollah also.
The only person who can create a problem for you is yourself. This is
Listen,
the
I'm going
issue.
to create a problem for them. Trust
So-
God on that.
So you got to do what you need to do for yourself and maintain your own freedoms. And they can't take your freedoms unless
you
you
give
them.
it to them.
So just stop giving them
And
away.
you people in California, and you people in New York, and even here in Michigan, you're giving away your life. Now, I finally saw people in New York fighting back. I'm glad to finally
The
see
religious
it.
community.
No. A restaurant owner and the people that had worked for him, he said, I'm not closing. Do something. And they gave him a $15,000 fine, and he ripped it up on the camera.
There are a few restaurants here in Michigan doing the
They're
same
doing that, and
thing.
they fined them, and they took their liquor license away. F them. F the government, F the state, F Whitmer and all the governors. They will burn in hell. I guarantee it.
So that's a rant.
That's a rant. And you know, I am really
Ranting.
at the edge now.
Ranting.
I'm ready to like blast the demons to hell where they belong. And I've been doing that.
Yeah.
And of course I get attacked. But I don't care, because you know what? I'm not going to sit and do nothing. I'm going to fight evil. And you should too.
So be sure and get your membership at expansions.com so you can watch Stuart fight evil.
That's right. And even, I lost a lot of weight. And sometimes I run against evil and my pants fall down. And so there's a little bit of humor in my fight.
Is there?
Yes, as you well know, because
Yeah.
you laugh at me all the time.
Yasmini is over here poking me with her nose.
Anyway,
So, and we got we have December, we have just a couple of days, the last webinar series for the
Right.
my affirmations book.
and I urge you all to read my December 1 blog, because I have some information in there about what's coming up.
And December 17, we have a forthcoming webinar,
Oh, yeah.
English-Spanish.
And from Ecuador, and on January 8th, you don't even know this, January 8th is the next Turkish.
So all that will be on our website. We've been under discussion about an Oversoul Mastermind group. We are continuing that into 2021. So
Differently.
hopefully you're on our free newsletter, because you'll get that information. If you don't get it and you just want information, contact Patricia, customer support at expansions.com. She'll help you, she'll give you the information. You do have to apply. It's a limited openings every year, so
And Looney Tunes, I'm not reading your stuff, I'm deleting it, so you're just wasting your time.
well, they don't know they're a Looney Tune.
Well, trust me, if they don't know they're Looney Tunes, then we're in big trouble.
Get our books, get our book bundles, get the things that help you help yourself. That's what we're about. We help you help yourself. So join our global community, expansions.com, less than $1 a day, and we will see you next.
Yeah, and less a few demons perhaps. Bye for now.
Bye.